Okay, I think it's finally time to finish that wrap dress. Hello and welcome back to Lately Fashionable. I want to say first off, this is not going to be a tutorial on how to make the Mary Quant Georgie dress. That is the dress that I am making, but with some alterations. First of all, while I really love the style of this dress, it is not a true wrap dress. It has a center back zipper, and I hate zippers. I hate sewing them, and I also hate trying to zip them up on myself, especially in the back. I really love true wrap dresses, and so I have a special... hatred is a strong word. A special antipathy towards fake wrap dresses, because you lose all of the benefits of a real wrap dress by putting a zipper in the back. The benefits being, of course, in a true wrap dress you can get dressed by yourself, and they are also wonderfully size adjustable. I present as evidence my yellow 1970s ikat print wrap dress, which was supposed to be a back zipper dress, and I made it as a true wrap dress, I think in 2016, and then in 2017 I had a baby, and I could wear the dress throughout my pregnancy and after when I was nursing, and because it was a true wrap dress, it still fit. Yes, I did have to wear some tank tops underneath for extra coverage, but I still have and wear that dress to this day. And I've never gotten back to my 2016 size, and I never will. But we're not here to talk about that dress, we're here to talk about the Georgie dress, which I am making. And I'm coming to you in the middle of the project. I've already started it, and I've done a lot of work off camera. I originally cut it out off camera, and then I set it aside for like 2 years, I think, and then I decided to put it in one of my UFO boxes. It was box number 2. I drew that number in February. It was my February UFO. I did not actually do anything with it during the month of February. I did finish the wearable mock-up that I made from just the bodice portion of the pattern, so I counted that as my February UFO. But now I want to actually make the dress because I really want to wear it. And I can tell you exactly why I stopped working on it in the first place, because I had gotten to the point where I needed to sew the darts in the bodice, and I hate sewing darts almost as much as I hate sewing zippers, and I had chosen linen fabric, the squidgiest of fibers. Specifically this beautiful blue and white striped linen, which was a petticoat that I got at the Colonial Williamsburg costume sale in May of 2023. It might have been April. I bought, I think, 10 petticoats in that sale, and I have a whole video where I go over my intentions for each of those, several of which I have in fact made now. One of which I'm actually wearing today, because now that my year of dressing vintage is over, I can wear whatever I want now. And this skirt was not particularly 1940s adjacent. It's very much 1970s does Edwardian? I don't know. I love it. It's swooshy and fun. And it's been in my closet for an entire year without getting worn, and now I can wear it again, and I'm really happy. But that's another garment we're not here to talk about today. So, like I said, I had chosen this linen fabric. Now, linen is very squidgy and does not like to stay where you pin it or iron it necessarily. Now, I was lucky in that this linen, the striped linen, is actually pretty stable of a weave, and it doesn't squidge too much. But on the other hand, the linen I had chosen to use for the lining, which was another petticoat from that sale, is perhaps the squidgiest fabric to ever exist. It was a pain to cut out, and it's going to be a pain to sew darts. I have sewn 2 of the darts now. I have 4 more to do, just in the lining. So that is why I set it aside in the first place, and of course because it's been at least 2 years since I started on this project, I was not entirely sure what I was doing with everything that I had already cut out. I had definitely made some decisions, but not all of the decisions, if that makes sense. So one of the first things that I did when I pulled it back out yesterday to start working on it was change how I was going to do the skirt. I think originally I had planned to use the original hem of the petticoat as the hem of the skirt, but I figured out that I would actually get a wider and therefore fuller skirt if I folded that long panel in thirds, cut it into 3 panels, and then sewed those end to end to have the stripes running horizontally instead of vertically. And happily, that is actually how the original dress was designed, with the horizontal stripes. So I'm getting to actually play with the direction of the stripes more, which makes me very happy. Now, there were a couple of stains on the skirt that I was unable to cut around, and I will discuss those later. I will come back to them. Also, cutting it this way meant that there was now going to be a seam running right across the middle of the center back panel. I was able to disguise the seam pretty well by sewing directly down the middle of a set of stripes, and then pressing it really well and flat felling the seam so that it should be fairly unnoticeable, and I think I did a really good job of that. In addition to playing with the direction of stripes, I have also been playing with using the inside versus outside of the original petticoat, because since it's a yarn-dyed cotton, the stripes are the same on both sides, but of course the side that got the most sun has faded over time. So on the more faded sections, I'm actually using the inside of the fabric, and on the less faded sections, I might be using the outside to try to balance it more and make it more or less cohesive. There's going to be sections that are less faded than others. That's just something I could not work around entirely. But I think that's going to add to the character of the garment overall, so I'm okay with that. Now, I had originally cut out a couple of pieces that were going to be pockets, or at least one side of a pocket, and I would cut the other side from a different fabric, because I didn't have enough for 4 pieces of the pockets. These were going to be side seam inserted pockets, but I had also cut square patch pockets. And now that I've changed the direction of the stripes on the skirt, I think it's going to be fun to have vertical stripes on the pocket and horizontal stripes on the skirt underneath for some fun visual interest. And now that I have 3 panels of the skirt, and I'm going to shift the side seams to the back so that I can have more fullness in the back of the skirt. Since the front is already wrapping around itself, I don't want a lot of gathers or pleats in the front. And also, I don't want to cover up the patch pockets I'm going to put on. So that means that the side seams are not going to be at the sides of the skirt. They're going to be more towards the back. So it would be impractical to have side seam pockets. And I've also gone ahead and flat felled the skirt seams, so I can't get pockets in there anymore. But that's okay. I'm gonna have the patch pockets instead. I don't need side seam pockets and patch pockets. I have also already hemmed the skirt, and I have serged the raw edges of almost all of the pieces that I'm going to sew together. And I did that even though this is going to be a fully lined bodice, because I have learned in my many years of sewing that this linen that frays very easily can still fray inside a fully enclosed bodice through repeated washings. And I'm definitely going to be washing this dress a lot, so I do not want the seam allowances inside the garment where I can't get to them to fray out and become these like clumpy, grungy bits of thread. So I am serging all of the raw edges, except the ones that will be hemmed, because those I don't need to worry about fraying in any way, before I sew anything together. Now, when I originally downloaded and printed off this pattern and taped all the pieces together, I did not actually print off the instructions, and I don't think I even read them. Partly because I knew I was going to be changing a lot of things, making it a true wrap dress. I was going to make it sleeveless, but it turns out I actually had fabric left over to use for the sleeves, so it's going to have short sleeves, not the elbow-length sleeves that the original dress has, but that's okay. But I really should have at least read the instructions before starting on the wearable mock-up, at least. Specifically the part about stay stitching, easing, and ironing the neckline before sewing anything so that it wouldn't stretch out. And I did have issues with the neckline, as you may have seen if you watched my February UFO video. So I am doing that step at least on this dress. I really want it to fit. And to that end, I am not going to sew the darts where I originally marked them, using the pattern that I printed off because I did not like the dart placement on the bodice that I ended up making, and it's too late to change that now. So I am going to sew the bodice together, try it on, and then pin the darts on me where they want to be. I think that will give me the best possible fit. But I should probably stop talking to the camera and actually do some of the sewing. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to try to finish the bodice today. Maybe finish the entire dress, that would be ideal. I have done some sewing off screen. I have stitched in the darts, pressed them nicely, put the bodice together, and the same with the lining. So now I can put both the lining and the outer fabric together along the neckline edge, at the same time encasing the ruffle. And then once I have a finished neckline, I can turn the lining to the inside and I can understitch right along the edge. And then I can attach the skirt and the sleeves, probably the sleeves first, to both layers of the bodice together. And it will pretty much be done. Okay, I think that was genuinely the most difficult part of this entire project. And it is done. So it should be all smooth sailing from here. Just gotta press this really nicely, and then I'm going to understitch the lining after I take out these basting stitches. Understitch the lining to the seam allowance. And then I can add the sleeves and then the skirt. Okay, here is the bodice all put together. I really like how this ruffle turned out. It's so orderly, which is not usually a word I use to describe a ruffle, but that's what it is. I think the fit is pretty good. Feeling happy with that. And I am very glad that the bodice is lined because it does give it just a little bit extra support and structure. Even though it's linen and the lining is very squidgy linen, it feels good to have 2 layers. It just feels more structurally sound that way. Okay, so now I can attach the skirt. And yes, I am aware that I have crossed left over right, and the pattern has it right over left, and most wrap dresses have it right over left. And the reason I'm doing that is because I need to hide the stains on the skirt, which are on the right side. But the overlap of the left side will cover the stains, so I don't have to patch them or do anything else weird. It's gonna be fine. Okay, I've pinned the skirt on very loosely just so I can show you what I'm talking about. So there's the stain, both a bleach stain and a substance stain, I don't know what it is. And I am going to have the skirt fairly flat across the front, and I've placed the pockets outside of the wrap area. Also, fun fact, this one is also hiding a stain. And then the skirt is going to get pleated up in the back. So here's the pocket on the front, and there's the stain. So I really put the pocket as far back as I could to cover the stain. Okay, I have one sleeve attached, and the other one is pinned on. I decided to hand gather the sleeve head because I have so much thread that I've saved, because whenever I take out machine basting or gathering threads, I keep them because they can be useful for hand sewing. And I thought I should start using them for actual hand gathering, especially on something like a sleeve head where it doesn't take very much thread, and that way I'm not wasting more that just ends up getting saved and never used. So now I'm ready to sew this one in, and then I can attach the skirt. And it is officially a dress. Okay, it's very cute. I'm not crazy about the straight front of unbroken horizontal stripes across my belly, but you know, that's how I had to cut the fabric. I do think I like how the back came out with the pleats. It's pretty cute. I am glad I went ahead and added the sleeves. It would have been okay as a sleeveless dress, but you know what? I need more like short sleeve dresses in my life anyway. I like the pockets. I think the placement of them is good. I don't really have any complaints other than because I chose to do the darts with the fisheye effect, it kind of looks like the skirt should be like 2 inches higher. And maybe it should, but I like the length of it, so I don't think I'm going to mess with it. I might just make a belt, like just a plain blue belt, because of course I have none of this fabric left. So yeah, overall I'm happy with it. I need to make a closure at the side. I'm thinking buttons. I have buttons that I like that match. And I still need to stitch down the lining of the bodice at the waist seam. Yeah, so overall, pretty pleased. So that was the striped linen wrap dress. I really like it. It's comfortable. It's going to be really great for summer. I cannot wait. There's only been like 2 actually hot days since I finished making this, and I was unable to wear it either of those days. So I've actually only worn it once before today, and that was with a cardigan because it just was not warm enough to justify a short sleeve linen dress. But yeah, overall I'm pretty pleased. I think the pattern is great. If you want to make it yourself, whether or not you make the same modifications I did, it is a free download on the VNA website. I will put a link in the description and you can try it out for yourself. I definitely want to make it again, maybe in a non-striped fabric just for fun. Although I do have to say there's something quite fun about playing with the stripes in the pattern, so I may make multiple versions in the future. Who knows? It's not as if I don't have a very long list of vintage projects, which you have already seen. Anyway, that is February's UFO finally fully checked off. I'm quite pleased, and I had a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give me a like, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. For a fun visual. I have so much thread that I have saved from machine gathering in the past. What is this open? What else? Ba-dum.